Hello everyone, thank you for joining me. Cindy here from CLB Craft Creations, and today is day 6 of our holiday card series. We are still featuring the Peaceful Pines stamp set, and I don't have a sample because we're going to go ahead and create it together, and hopefully it will turn out. If not, it won't, but let's go ahead and get started. I've got a piece of Whisper White, which is cut at 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4.25. Just got my scrap paper here. I've got an ink blending tool, and I'm going to use some Pool Party ink. And I'm just going to just sponge the back of the card. Just going to try and create a sky. Use whichever blending tool you prefer for getting your ink onto your card. This is just the quickest for me. And I'm going to make it a little darker at the top, and then I'm just going to make it lighter as I go down. Just layer my ink. I'm going to create a tree or forest kind of look. I'm not going to cover the whole back of the card with the ink. I think that's good. You can put as much as you want, but I'm just going to go ahead and just kind of do that top third of the card. All right. I'm going to bring in the Mossy Meadow ink and the kind of hand-drawn type of image. Let's see if we can get this. I'm going to start full strength with the one tree all the way down here at the forefront. Okay, and then I'm going to stamp a second generation and then a third. Okay, and now I'm going to do another one, but now this one's going to be a little bit further up so that we look like we're kind of moving up the, I'm going to put that one there and then another one there. Okay, and then I'm going to do probably one more. Yep, that'll work. One more. It's okay that they overlap. Again, this is supposed to kind of look like a foresty. And that one there. All right, cool. Oh, I like that a lot. And then they've got the sky kind of coloring from the top. And we're actually going to be done with that. No, actually I'll stamp the inside of the card with my sentiment. So I'm going to use the Wishing a Season, or I could probably put that down there. Nope. Wishing a season of wonderful moments and warm memories. I'm going to stamp that in the Mossy Meadow just so it matches the front. Tie in that Mossy Meadow on the inside. Okay? So now that is that piece done. Now I'm going to take a piece of vellum, which is cut at 4 by 5.5, because it's going to go top all the way to the top to the bottom. But I left a 1/4 inch off the side because I'm going to use a piece of washi here. But I'm going to run that through my gently falling embossing folder, and I'm not going to do the embossing on the screen just because I don't have enough space on my desk here to bring in the die cut machine. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my vellum all the way to the top of the folder because I definitely want the snow to progress down. Okay, and then I want the, the bulk of the snow to be at the bottom. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and run that through my Big Shot machine. Now I have my piece that is now embossed, which is so much fun, and plus it's all nice and textured and very cool. All right, and so that's going to layer right on top, like I said, all the way over to the right. And then I'm going to take some of the Winter Woodland washi tape. So this week's projects are all featuring washi. Okay, and then let me get this out of the way. See a little bit better. And what I'm going to actually do, probably the easiest way, is just to line that. I'm just kind of putting together here. And then I am going to just layer this right on top, and I'm going to make sure there's a little excess there, and then I can cut off the edge. But I want to make sure that it's lined up with the side of the card as close as possible. You know how good of a job I did on that. Not good at all. Okay, so gently remove the washi. And what I'm going to do now is I'm actually just going to apply it to the half of it onto the side here. That probably makes a little bit more sense. You can probably barely even see that, but at least this way. Okay, so now what I did is I just layered half of that washi onto my vellum, and now I can line that up with the side of my card without any issues. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm lining up the bottom edges so that they're nice and flush, and I'm going to push that. Sorry guys. Make sure that you line it up on both top and bottom as well as the side. Okay, there we go. And then that way it secures your vellum, but you don't have any, you know, it's a nice multi-layer. Okay, and I'm just going to trim that. Now you could also put a sentiment in here if you wanted. You could have actually stamped a sentiment onto the vellum before you did that. You could also even have probably stamped some snowflakes in the background too, but this is just enough for me actually. And then my wishing a season of wonderful moments and warm memories on the inside. I actually really like that. So there is our finished card project. You could even step it up a notch and actually emboss these in gold. That would look really, really pretty too, shining through the vellum, especially with the gold washi over here. You could have even used one of the other washis. This one would have looked really pretty too. And actually, why don't I just layer that on and see? So we'll have multi-dimensional here. Or I think maybe what we need to do is add it right there. So now I've got the stripes and then the dots. Okay. And I am actually going to add a little bit of washi on the inside just to pull it all together, because otherwise it's kind of just floating there. Doesn't really. Okay, so there's that. And then on the inside what we can do is I'll just take a piece. I'm actually just going to line the sides here. Just adds a nice little touch on the inside of the card. Cut off my excess. And then I'll add a little piece of the stripe as well. And I like this because you can actually see the dots in between the stripes as well. And you probably can't see that very well on camera, but if you give me a second, I will bring it up a little bit closer so you can see. Oh, I love that. That's really pretty. I like that on the inside. So I don't know if you can see, you can actually see the little gold speckles through the stripe washi as well. And so there you go. So there again is our finished card project. I hope that you liked today's card project. Give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and leave me a comment, and I will see you again soon. Thanks guys.